Welcome to the Hope Podcast, a weekly podcast devoted to the explanation of the laws governing health, opulence, peace, and enlightenment.
The presence. The physical form, you, your outer self, is at the bottom. Above or over this is the individualized presence of God, the beloved I Am Presence, your source. It is in a body of light substance. If you were to see it, it would appear in a form similar to the physical body, but vibrating at a much higher celestial rate. Therefore, it is not visible to the physical sight yet. It is a living being, intelligent, real, and in blazing light. It is the focus of all the God powers that your outer self may draw upon. It supplies the outer self with life, intelligence, power, and action, and the human enjoys all its power, but does not fully understand it. You may speak to it as you speak to a friend. In Christian times, beloved Jesus called to it as Father. The rays of intense white light pour out from the great presence, some large and many smaller ones. Around this presence are great spheres of light, substance and colors of mighty rays, and various tints of each ray. In the center is the white light, the natural radiance of the presence. Outside of that is a sphere of electric blue. On a flat surface, sometimes the presence are portrayed as circles or bands of color, but in reality they are spheres. Outside and around the blue one is one of yellow, then around it a beautiful pink, around that a crystalline white. Next to it is an emerald green, then a pinkish ruby with a gold radiance, and the outer sphere is violet. These are in order of these 7 first rays, and they interblend with one another. This together is known as the causal body, which contains all accumulated good, the constructively qualified essence of that life stream through the ages, created both while in embodiment and between embodiment. These mighty spheres vary in size or quality with each individual. The white rays from the mighty I Am Presence pour out through these spheres of color, utilizing the God mastery and qualities there in cosmic action. They are the action of the divine mind and love by which the presence carries on its creation at cosmic levels. From the heart of the presence is a ray of light extending down, entering the human body through the top of the head, where the soft spot is in a newborn child, and it is anchored within the heart. This we call the stream of life, and it beats the heart and keeps the person alive. When it withdraws, so-called transition or death ensues. In like manner, the presence is connected by a ray of light with the central sun, which is the sun behind the physical sun, or the sun of that system. A ray of light from the presence, we call it the crystal silver cord. It enters the top of the head, goes to the heart and to the base of the brain, the medulla oblongata, and from there is distributed by tiny threads of light to every cell of the body. This is how your body has life. This is an unconscious action on the part of the outer self, but consciously carried on by the higher mental body, or the Christ self, and body elemental. There being distributed enough light for the body to function properly in the physical to render the services in the outer that the Christ self wants to do in that embodiment and fulfill the divine plan. In humankind today, much of the energy is drawn down by the outer self and unfortunately used discordantly in the various human expressions. But it should be poured back in love to the mighty I Am Presence, thus completing the circuit. This is the right action. Around the human form is a pillar of light. It is established and placed there by the magic I Am Presence, at the call of the outer or personal self. This pillar of protection insulates the lower bodies from vibratory action in which one must move. Within this mighty pillar of light, once it is established, the transmuting violet flame of divine love, mercy, and compassion is created and expressed. This also is done at the call of the personal self and can be activated at any time to any degree depending on the capacity of the individual. This is how one redeems karma, the destructively qualified energy of all lives, all misuse of energy of the life stream, as well as what is accepted from without. This accumulation is condensed around the physical form. In between embodiments, this accumulation stays in the atmosphere of Earth while the individual sojourns into the realms of light. At re-embodiment, most of it is held in abeyance until around the 14th year of life, when it is then returned to the individual, its creator. The pillar of light and violet flame interpenetrate each other. Above the physical body is the higher mental body or Christ self. It is a multifaceted self. We also call it the higher self, the Christ consciousness. It is also known as the guardian angel. It abides between the presence and the outer human form. It has been provided by the presence to act for and take care of the requirements of the outer self, for it is the only begotten child of God. The Christ self is the action of the presence that knows its perfection and also knows the imperfections and requirements of the outer self. It is endowed with the discriminating intelligence to act in the outer. It might be termed as a step-down transformer with the capacity to act in the lower realms. The Christ self does not accept any imperfection of the outer, but remains wholly pure and perfect. It is an intelligent being in a body of light, and has form but of a lower vibratory rate than that of the presence. It is the vehicle through which the presence acts in the physical realm. Therefore, when one calls to your presence, in reality the Christ self performs the service. The bodies of the presence and Christ self are just as tangible in their own realms of vibratory action, as the physical body is here to the physical senses. This spoken diagram represents your individualized presence of God. I am in its relationship to you. A picture is an outpost of what it represents. A picture is the greatest focus of any divine being or activity in the outer world. A chart is the only explanation of the truth of this law, for it is an eye picture of the release of the power of the universe which knows no opposite. The knowledge and understanding of the presence and its action is your freedom. The chart shows the trinity of your faculties, acting at one point. It is the Trinity in action. It is the action of the threefold flame. In every activity of the universe there is a trinity of action, love, wisdom, and power, which in the knowledge of the presence becomes one. And the chart is only an outpicture of it. One needs then to make effort for the realization of it. This is what these teachings are striving to do. To realize God. Contemplate your presence. Contemplate the chart at night. Keep feeling it as your powerhouse. If one can hold a steady gaze upon the upper figure until a funnel of light forms between you and it, especially on a colored chart, it is magnificent. Most important, is your knowledge, understanding, and accepting of your individualized I Am presence as presented in the chart. Even an individual who is doubtful, if they were to look upon the chart sincerely, wanting to know for only minutes each day, they would get their proof. And so it is.
Thank you, and subscribe to the Hope Podcast for exciting new content about the Ascended Masters and the Law of Life. Find out more at www.gatheringofsheilas.com. Comments and questions? Email us at hopepodcasting@gmail.com.